This next question says, yesterday I wasn't able to complete my bench press session due to pec pain during the warm-ups. I was getting the pain toward the end of last week, especially after a touch and go bench. The pain is on the front of my left shoulder in the armpit area around the pec insertion to the humerus. I've had on and off issues with pec tendonitis since June of 2015. Seems to develop over 5 to 7 weeks of bench training and goes away after a couple weeks off. My next meet has overhead press as the contest lift rather than bench. While waiting for the pain to subside from this latest flare-up, would it be okay to replace the bench press slots with overhead pressing? I'm more interested in developing my bench press long term, but of course this could be useful short term given the circumstances. What do you think I can do long term to help the progress on my bench in the future? All right, so back up and take these one at a time. If you've got a tendon inflammation issue to the point where it's causing you to stop a training session, then I think your plan of replacing the bench with overhead pressing is going to be fine, provided that you can do that overhead pressing without issue. There's a lot of bench volume in these training programs, and the assumption is that you've worked up to that. If you haven't worked up to the same level of work on the overhead press, just be aware that you may be asking a lot of yourself. So be on the lookout for overuse issues. If any seem to pop up or start to pop up, make sure to address those before they become larger issues. As far as what to do about this now and long term in the future, it seems for tendon issues like this, there's not a whole lot you can do rather than give it a little bit of time. You can do some things like ice therapy to help reduce the inflammation, although it's debatable on whether or not that's a good plan or not. Probably it's fine, especially in the early stages, to keep the inflammation from getting too high. But I mean, at this point where you're at right now, that's maybe less of a concern. I used to have a lot of issues with pec strains, pec tendonitis, and things like that. A couple things have helped for me. One, whenever I did get a flare-up or something like that, I would do some like band cable crossover type movements, put a band over a pull-up bar and do something like that. Now, generally, it's not advisable if you have a tendon issue to do more work for that particular muscle. But I think a combination of the stretch and, trying to bring blood flow into the area, I think was maybe a net win. It's a mini band. It wasn't terribly heavy, and it was like 50 to 100 reps. Just something light and flushing seemed to help for me. It may be something that you want to try. If it doesn't seem to help you, then don't do it. On a more long-term scale, I think a big part of it is just giving those tendons and structures time to adapt to the workload. It'll happen with time. Make sure to monitor your technique. If your bench style is placing a lot of pressure on those pec tendons, you may want to modify some of your assistance work just slightly, so that it reduces the amount of work that those structures are having to do. So ways that you can do that: close your grip in. Even just a couple finger widths is a lot, and it'll go a long way toward helping reduce that strain. Tucking your elbows just a bit more, that also might help. And in extreme circumstances, maybe using some boards or something like that, although I would try not to do that if you can. So hopefully that gives you some good ideas to get started. Keep me posted on this and let me know how it goes for you.